Warm greetings to everyone. My name is Dr. Meenu Anand and I teach in the Department of Social Work at University of Delhi, popularly known as Delhi School of Social Work. Today, we are going to understand in this video the theories of human development. Human development is one of the most beautiful as well as intriguing themes in child psychology. There are various theoretical perspectives regarding how an individual evolves, how his or her personality develops during childhood, and the role of biological, psychosocial, and environmental factors in shaping the individual during the various facets of one's life. In psychology, there are diverse schools of thought that have emerged, each with its own research evidence and theory about the development. We have the very popular psychodynamic perspective, behavioral perspective, cognitive model, humanistic perspective, and many, many more. In today's video, we will cover psychodynamic perspective, which is very broad, and therefore we'll be focusing on two broad topics. Number one, Freud's theory of personality development. Number two, Erikson's model of psychosocial development. At the end of this video, the learning outcomes that we expect to be developed are number one, developing an understanding of Freud's theory of psychosexual development, and number two, an understanding of Erik Erikson's theory of psychosocial development. Let's begin with one of the most popular figures, a person whose name is very, very pertinent in psychology, and that is Sigmund Freud. You must have heard his name in innumerable movies, social media platforms, in discussion with your friends and your colleagues. Sigmund Freud was born in 1856 and he was an Austrian physiologist and a medical doctor who practiced in Vienna. He was particularly interested in the condition of hysteria and its psychological causes. Freud, in fact, revolutionized how we think and treat mental health conditions. He also studied hypnosis to treat women who were suffering from what was then called as hysteria, and that sparked his interest in unconscious mind. Freud founded psychoanalysis as a way of listening to patients and gaining better understanding about how their minds actually worked. His revolutionary work had an enormous impact on modern psychology and psychiatry, and so much so that he is popular as the father of psychoanalysis or even as the father of modern psychology. Sigmund Freud is best known for developing psychoanalysis, which is a therapeutic technique for treating mental health disorders by exploring unconscious thoughts and feelings. His theory broadly has three parts: the structural model of mind, number one, which has id, ego, and superego as the three components. Second is topographic model of the mind, popular as the iceberg model, which contends that the mind can be divided into three regions: conscious, preconscious, and unconscious. And he's also talked about ego defense mechanisms in this topographic model. Now, the third is the theory of psychosexual development. For this video, we are going to focus on this third part of his theory, that is the theory of psychosexual development. Now, Sigmund Freud, my friends, made the startling assertion that the foundation of an individual's personality is laid down in the tender years, that is the first 5 years. Now, to shed light on these crucial early years, Freud formulated a psychosexual stage theory of development. He stressed how young children deal with their immature but powerful sexual urges. Please note that Sigmund Freud used the term sexual in a generic way to refer to many urges for physical pleasure and not just the urge to copulate. According to Freud, these sexual urges shift in focus as children progress from one stage to another, and is actually given 5 stages, which he called as psychosexual stages of development. And in each stage, there is a conflict between an individual's instinctual drive and social expectation for behavior. Now, these stages are: first, oral stage, which begins from birth to 1 year of age. Second is the anal stage, from 1 year to 3 years of age. The phallic stage, from 3 to 6 years of age. The latent stage, from 6 till puberty. And the genital stage, puberty to death. during each of the 5 psychosexual stages, there is a specific body part considered as the erogenous zone that becomes highly sensitive to stimulation and serves as a source of pleasure. The names for the stages oral, anal, genital and so on are based on where children are focusing their erotic energy at that time. Now, thus, psychosexual stages are developmental periods with a characteristic sexual focus that leaves its mark on adult personality. Now, Sigmund Freud said that in each stage, now there is a conflict between a person's instinctual drive and social expectation. Now, in each stage, there is a specific body part which is the erogenous zone, which becomes highly sensitive to stimulation and serves as a source of pleasure. Now, he said that there is a term called fixation, which is a failure to move forward from one stage to another if the tasks are not achieved, if the conflict continues. Now, fixation is caused by excessive gratification of needs at a particular stage or by excessive frustration of those needs. Until this conflict is resolved, the person is going to remain stuck in that stage. Now, let's discuss these stages one by one. The first stage is oral stage. Age range is birth to 1 year. Erogenous zone at this time is the mouth. During the oral stage, the infant's primary source of interaction occurs through the mouth, so the rooting and the sucking reflex is especially significant. The mouth is vital for eating, and the infant derives pleasure from oral stimulation through gratification of needs through tasting and sucking. Since the infant is entirely dependent on the caretaker who is actually responsible for feeding the child develops sense of trust and comfort through oral stimulation. The second stage is the anal stage from 1 to 3 years, and the erogenous zone is the bowel and the bladder control. During the anal stage, Freud believed that the primary focus of the libido was on controlling the bladder and the bowel movements. The major task is toilet training, and the child has to control the bodily needs, and this leads to sense of accomplishment and independence. Now, according to Sigmund Freud, success at this stage is actually relying on how parents approach toilet training. Parents who praise and reward the child for using the toilet, they are going to yield positive outcomes in the child. And if parents punish, ridicule or shame the child during this stage, it can actually result in negative outcomes. Now, the third stage is the phallic stage. Age range is 3 to 6 and the erogenous zone is genitals. Now, Sigmund Freud said that during the phallic stage, the primary focus of the libido is on the genitals. Children are beginning to discover the differences between male and the females. Freud believed that boys begin to view their fathers as a rival for the mother's affection. The Oedipus complex describes these feelings of wanting to possess the mother and the desire to replace the father. However, the child also fears that he'll be punished by the father for these feelings, a fear Freud termed castration anxiety. The term Electra complex has been used by him to describe a similar set of feelings experienced by young girls. Freud, however, believed that girls instead experience penis envy. Eventually, the child begins to identify with the same-sex parent as a means of vicariously possessing the other parent. The fourth stage, according to Freud's psychosexual stages theory, is the latent period, which is the age spanning from 6 to puberty. Erogenous zone says that Freud says sexual feelings are inactive, they are dormant, because children are busy with academic and other school-related activities, and therefore the superego continues to develop while the id's energies are suppressed. Now, this is not a very important phase according to Freud in terms of psychosexual development. The fifth stage in the psychosexual theory is the genital stage, which starts with the onset of puberty and continues till the person is alive. The erogenous zone implies maturing sexual interests. Now, this is the final stage of psychosexual development because the individual develops a strong sexual interest in the opposite sex. The stage begins during puberty and continues throughout the lifespan of the person. Now, Freud's psychosexual stages theory actually has received a lot of critique over too much emphasis on sexuality. This has been questioned by scientific and feminist critics, and there are questions related to its predictions as well. Even though the theory is more than 125 years old, my friends, and often criticized, it still helps us to understand how early life shapes and about who we are. His theory reminds us that our childhood experiences can echo throughout our lives and sometimes in surprising ways. Let's move on to the second popular theorist, that is Erik Erikson. Now, Erik Erikson was actually one of the many followers Sigmund Freud had. Erikson extended Freud's theory of psychosexual development by adding social and cultural aspects and proposing a lifespan developmental model. His theory of psychosexual development, psychosocial development outlined 8 stages, each marked by a specific crisis to resolve that shape an individual's identity and relationships. Erik Erikson's theory propounds, number 1, personality develops over lifespan. Number 2, there are central conflicts in each of the 8 stages. Number 3, basic virtues are to be attained, which leads to successful resolution of each stage. Now, let's discuss the first stage given by Erik Erikson in his psychosocial theory. This stage is trust versus mistrust, and it begins at the time of birth and continues till 18 months of age. Now, during this span, now the infant relies entirely on the caregivers for support and consistency. For example, the needs for food, comfort, affection are consistently met by the primary caregiver, which is usually the mother, father, or in many cases grandparents as well. Now, through this, the child develops trust. Now, feeding is a very, very critical activity. Feeding is one of the infant's first and most basic ways to learn whether they can trust the world around them or not. Now, it's also the time when consistency in the daily schedule of the child is also very, very important. For example, usual time when the child wakes up, the usual routine pattern, for example, bathing, sleeping, going out with the parents or with somebody else, then napping time, and again going to bed. Now, these are very, very important for the child to develop some kind of routine in his or her daily life. The love, the warmth, consistency, these are the factors which give the child a sense of security and develop the virtue known as hope. Hope that this is going to happen. Hope means sense of security and the trust in the mother or the father or the primary caregiver in his or her environment. The second stage is autonomy versus shame and doubt, which begins at 18 months and lasts till 3 years of age. At the age of 1.5 years, we often see that the young toddlers are curious, they are running around, they are wanting to explore the environment. They want to grab a spoon, they want to eat their own, they want to bathe themselves, they want to wear their own clothes. Now, if caregivers encourage these efforts, children feel a sense of autonomy, that is, confidence in their ability to handle challenges. If encouraged and supported, their increased independence is going to grow and they are going to feel more secure and gain the virtue of will. Will means to act independently. Now, at this stage, we know that toilet training is something to be a significant milestone to be achieved. Now, when parents approach toilet training in a patient, supportive manner, now child begins to feel accomplished and feels autonomous. On the other hand, if the child is overly controlled, criticized, humiliated, he or she may begin to feel ashamed and doubt their own ability and feel less confident in trying out new things. Now, success in this stage is going to lead to development of virtue of will, and children are going to feel confident and secure. Third stage in Erik Erikson's theory is initiative versus guilt, which begins at 3 and continues till 5 years of age. This is the time when children start going to play school, they devise new games, they imagine new roles, and the virtue to be gained is purpose. Now, children at this time also indulge in play. with other children, their peers. It allows children to explore their interpersonal skills. They want to take initiatives. Now, children also make mistakes, they learn from their mistakes, and this gives them self-confidence. The virtue at this stage that has to be developed is purpose. Now, purpose means that they need to feel that they are secure, they are able to lead others, they are able to make their own decisions. Now, if this does not take place, then children are going to develop a sense of guilt, which can slow the child's interaction with others, and they may inhibit their own creativity. The fourth stage is industry versus inferiority, which begins at 5 and continues till 12 years of age. Now, this is the time when children usually enter formal school and they compare their abilities with their peers and they seek to demonstrate their competence. They are expected to develop industry, which means hard work, confidence in skills, and productivity. Without such support, or when faced with persistent failures, children risk feeling inferior and unmotivated. The virtue to be developed at this stage is competence. Competence means that they have a sense of industry, a feeling of competence, belief in their own self, belief in their own skills. If children are encouraged and reinforced for their initiatives, they begin to feel industrious and they begin to feel confident in their ability to achieve goals. They develop life skills. And if this does not happen, then failure is going to result in feeling of inferiority. The fifth stage is identity versus role confusion, which begins at the age of 12 and continues till 18 years of age. This is the time when the child has become an adolescent and the transition from childhood to adulthood has actually begun. And this is a very, very important stage. Adolescent mind, according to Erik Erikson, is essentially a mind or a moratorium, a psychosocial stage between childhood and adulthood, between the morality learned by the child and the ethics to be developed by the adult. Now, this is the time, this is a stage where the child has to learn the roles he or she will occupy as an adult. This is the time when adolescent will re-examine his or her identity and try to find out who I am. The virtue to be gained is fidelity. Fidelity means the ability to remain true, loyal to oneself and to others. Now, if adolescents are supported in their exploration and given the freedom to explore different roles, they are likely to emerge from this stage with a strong sense of self, a strong sense of identity, a feeling of independence and control. On the other hand, if this does not happen, then there is going to be a role confusion if they are restricted or not given the space to explore themselves. Sixth stage is the stage of intimacy versus isolation, which takes place from 18 to 40 years of age. Now, this is the time when the person begins to share oneself more intimately with others. We explore relationships leading towards longer-term commitments with someone who is other than our own family member. Successful completion of this stage can result in happy relationships, a sense of commitment, safety, and care within a relationship. Young adults often seek close bonds and relationships that involve mutual care and trust. And the virtue that has to be developed at this stage is love. Individuals who develop this virtue have the ability to form deep and committed relationships based on respect and mutual love. And if the individuals struggle to form these close relationships, then there is going to be isolation, which is going to be experienced by them, leading to loneliness, alienation, and exclusion. The seventh stage, which is the second last stage, according to Erik Erikson's psychosocial theory, is the generativity versus stagnation stage, which begins at 40 and continues till 65 years of age. Now, in middle adulthood, individuals focus on guiding the next generation, whether through parenting, mentoring, or community involvement. Successfully contributing to others' growth fosters generativity, the sense of productivity and accomplishment. And feeling unproductive or disconnected, by contrast, produces stagnation. If the individual feels that he or she is making a valuable contribution to the world, for example, raising children, grandchildren, they will feel a sense of contentment, they will feel a sense of generativity. caring for others, desiring to contribute to future generation actually gives up positivity and optimism towards oneself and towards one life. Now, at this time, the virtue of care has to be developed. Successful navigation of this stage now leads to this development of virtue, which is a sense of contribution to the world, typically through family or through one's work, and feeling of satisfaction that yes, I have made a difference. The last stage is stage 8, ego, integrity versus despair. Now, in the late adulthood, people often reflect on their lives and accomplishment. If they view their life experiences as meaningful, they achieve ego integrity, which is a sense of satisfaction and readiness to face life's end. Those who feel they have fallen short, they may experience despair, which is marked by regret, bitterness, or even fear of death. The virtue to be gained at this stage is wisdom. Now, wisdom enables a person to look back on their life with a sense of closure, completeness, and also accept death without fear. Now, Erik Erikson believed that if we see our lives as unproductive or feel guilty about it, we feel dissatisfied. Now, to summarize the topic of human development, we have covered, friends, theory of psychosexual development by Sigmund Freud and theory of psychosocial development given by Erik Erikson. I hope that you have understood the topic of human development and the two theories. Happy learning to everybody. Please refer to the following references to gain a deeper insight into these theories. Thank you.